ॐ दक्षिणास्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्ण पाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। So in the 9th chapter, from the 4th verse up till the 10th verse, Lord Krishna is talking about the Paraprakriti or the Nirguna Brahma Swarupam. He's talking about that, the very Swarupam of Ishvara, the Nirguna Brahma Swarupam. And we can, remember that this Nirguna Brahma Swarupam or Atma Swarupam was talked about from the 12th verse to the 25th verse of the 2nd chapter also. And Lord Krishna is going to give us very, very important aspects of the Swarupam of Brahman. Brahma Swarupa Lakshanani is being given here. Now, in the 4th verse, he brought about 3 very important aspects of Brahma Swarupam. The first one, he said, Avyaktam Brahma. If you see the 4th one, Maya Tatamidam Sarvam Jagat Avyakta Murtina. So here, what he's saying is, Brahman, Aham, that is the Paraprakriti, I, my higher nature, Brahma Swarupam. What is it? It is Avyaktam. What is the meaning of Avyaktam? Indriya Agocharam. Sukshmatvat. It is so sukshma, it is so subtle. That's why the Upanishads say Anoraniyam, that which is subtler than the subtlest. Being the very subtle one, the subtlest one, it is not available for any of our indriyas to objectify it. Therefore, it is unobjectifiable indriya agocharam. Therefore, it is called as avyaktam. Then the next one he said, Maya tatamidam. In the same line, the first word, Maya tatamidam. Tatam means, what is it? It means sarvagatatvam. What it means is, sarvagatam brahma sarvagatam. Sarvagatam brahma. Avyaktam brahma. Sarvagatam brahma. That means all pervading. When something is absolutely subtle, it pervades everything. If space, because of its subtlety, can pervade the whole universe, and it is avyaktam because of its subtlety, still it is there. Then what about that Atman or Brahman, which is the very Karanam of this space also? Therefore, being the subtlest of the subtle, it is all pervading. It is present everywhere, which was called as Tatam. Tatam means all pervading. Then he said, Matsthani Sarva Bhutani. That means I am Jagat Adhishtanam. I am the very support, I am the very Adhara, I am the very Adhishtanam over which, in which the whole Jagat is projected into creation, the whole Jagat exists, and also it goes back, resolves back into into its potential form. Therefore, here three features were brought about, that is Avyaktam Brahma, Sarvagatam Brahma, and also Jagat Adhishtanam Brahma. Three features. And all of them are explained in the Upanishads. Lord Krishna is not saying anything of his own. He is describing the nature of Brahman as per the description of the Upanishads Vedanta. Then in the next verse, in the fifth verse, he talked about his Paraprakriti or Brahman being Asangaha. Asangaha Brahman, Asangam Brahma, Asanga. What is the meaning of Asanga? Asanga means that which is not affected, afflicted, or tainted by anything. In the sense, this Brahman is the very Adhishtanam of the entire Jagat. It is the very warp and woof of the entire Jagat. It is pervading each and everything that is manifest and unmanifest. At the same time, this Brahman, being consciousness Swarupam, is not tainted or affected by anything that it pervades. Therefore, the Jagat does not have any kind of an effect on that. Therefore, he said in this verse that Nachamatstani Bhutani, though I am the Adhishtanam of all the Jivas, I am the Adhishtanam of the entire universe. This universe, these Jivas, these Bhutas, as though they do not exist in me. Nachamatstani Bhutani, because though this entire Jagat is dependent on me for its existence, the Jagat does not taint me or affect me. I am Asangaha. And that's why he said, Pashyame Yogamaishwaram. He said, look at this glory of mine, Arjuna. Though I am the Adhishtanam of this entire Jagat, though I am pervading the entire Jagat, it is because of me, this consciousness, that the entire Jagat is existing. It is continuing to exist, survive, and then resolve back. It is in me that the entire Jagat comes from unmanifest to the manifest form and goes back from the manifest to the unmanifest form. In spite of that, this entire manifest or unmanifest Jagat, this entire projected Jagat does not affect me in any way. I do not get changed in any way by the constantly changing Jagat which is projected in me. Therefore, he said this is one of the features of Asangatvam. And I gave you a number of examples last time, like how the sand is it is Adhishtanam of the mirage. It is in and through the mirage appearance, but it is not tainted by the water. How a reflection is, the mirror is not affected by the reflection that is cast on it. I also told about how I dream of so many things, but I am not affected by the dream. Therefore, in my own dream, I am Asanga. The mirror in which there is this appearance of the reflection, it is Asanga. The mirage water does not taint the Adhishtanam sand in any way. And what Krishna says is in the fifth verse, in the second, third, and fourth lines, Bhuta Bhritcha. I'm the one who does the bharanam and poshanam of the entire Jagat. That means I am the sustenance. I sustain the whole Jagat with existence. I sustain the whole Jagat with consciousness. I am the Bharta and the Poshaka. Bharanam and Poshakam I do of this entire Jagat. Even then, in spite of my being Bhuta Bhrit, Bhuta Bhrit means as a Bharanam and Poshanam I am doing. I am sustaining the entire Jagat. And Mamatma Bhuta Bhavanaha. It is I, this Paraprakriti is what is responsible for all the changes that are taking place in the manifest Jagat, but at the same time, I am not in the change. The change does not affect me. The Jagat is in me, but I am not in the Jagat. Therefore, I am unafflicted by whatever I support, and therefore I am Asanga Atma. And to give that example of Asangatvam, what did Lord Krishna say in the sixth verse? He gave an example of Akasha. What is the example of Akasha that he has given here? He says, Yatha Akasha Sthito Vayuhu, okay, in Nitya Akasha. In that Akasha or space, there is not only Vayu, all the other four elements, Vayu, Agnihi, Apaha, Prithvi Tattvam, all the four elements are in space. But then none of them can affect this space. Do you remember this verse in second chapter? Achedyoyam adahyohyam akledyo ya ashochya yevacha nitya sarvagata sthanuhu achaloyam sanatanaha. That, what does he say? Asangatvam of Atma, Asangatvam of Brahman. And he used the example to show the Asangatvam of this Brahman by Akashe sthitaha Vayuhu. Though the Vayu is moving around, it is present in the space. We can extend this Vayu example to the other elements also. Though all the four elements are there in this space, none of them can either burn the space, none of them can afflict the space in any way. Whatever is happening in the space does not affect the space. So we can say the space is Asanga. Similarly, he gives this example that just like the Vayu which is flowing in its adhishtanam, immediate adhishtanam or immediate cause, which is the Vayu, which is the space or Akasha, similarly, I, being the Moola Karanam of everything in this Jagat, being the Adhishtanam of this Jagat, though the entire Jagat and all the actions that are happening, all the changes that are happening in the Jagat are supported by me, but I am Asangaha. So the Asangatvam or the Asanga nature of Brahman was pointed out in the sixth verse. Now we'll go to the main topic today from seventh verse onward. Now, if the creation appears in me, exists in me, resolves in me, does it really resolve in me, or is there something else which I support in which this whole creation is being projected? And Krishna says here, ultimately, that in which the entire Jagat appears, the material cause, the Upadana Karanam, or the main matter principle in which the Jagat appears, undergoes its changes and exists constantly changing and goes back into a potential form, is nothing but my Apara Prakriti or Maya. So in the next verse, he says, that is the reason why I am Asanga, because whatever is happening actually in my Apara Prakriti or in Maya. Therefore, whatever is happening there, I support Maya with all the changes that are going through, are happening in Maya, but nothing really affects me. So, what does the seventh verse say? Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya Prakritim Yanti Mamikam Kalpakshaye Punasthani Kalpadau Visrajamyaham. So, in the previous verses, Lord Krishna talked about the sthiti. Sthiti means the existence of the Jagat, entirely the constantly changing Jagat existing in me, the Paraprakriti, in me, Brahman, Atma. But then ultimately, what does he say? What about the creation of this Jagat? What about the resolution of this Jagat? Sthiti, I have talked to you about the existence. Matsthani sarvabhutani, nacha matsthani sarvabhutani, maya tatam idam jagat. Everything I have talked. But from where is this Jagat appearing? And where does this Jagat resolve into at the time of, the time when the time comes for the Jagat to resolve itself? So here he says, Sarva Bhutani, all the beings, living beings, we can include everything else also. The entire Jagat, he Kaunteya, Prakritim Yanti. They resolve into that very Prakriti when Kalpakshaye. If you go to the next line, Kalpakshaye, Sarva Bhutani, Prakritim Yanti, Mamikam. Mamikam Prakritim Yanti. What is the meaning of that? All these bhutas, all this entire Jagat, the manifest Jagat that you are seeing, ultimately, Kalpakshaye, at the end of a Kalpa, at the end of the cycle of one Kalpa, the entire manifest Jagat resolves back into this Prakriti, which is mine. He says, Mamikam Prakritim, Mama Maya Duratya. He says, this Maya, this Prakriti is my very lower nature. This is my Shakti. This is my Prakriti, and I am the very support of that Prakriti. And ultimately, this Jagat, which is Sthitam in me, is actually present in that apara prakriti of mine, in Maya. And Kalpakshaye Mamikam Prakritim Sarvabhutani Yanti. All the bhutas, the entire Jagat goes back, resolves back into an potential form, in an unmanifest form, into my Prakriti, into my apara Prakriti, into my lower nature, which can be called as Maya or Prakriti. And the Sankhya philosophers cause this as Pradhanam. We won't have to worry about it. Different names for Maya or Prakriti. Then what happens? Kalpadau, when the cycle begins again, there is no new cycle, there is nothing new. The same cycle is repeating again and again and again, from unmanifest to manifest, from manifest to unmanifest. So Kalpadau, when the time comes for the unmanifest Jagat to manifest itself, from where does it come? It comes from its cause, which is nothing but my apara prakriti or Maya. Kalpadau punaha tani sarvabhutani visrajami aham. I am responsible. I make this Prakriti bring the entire Jagat back into manifestation from a potential form. Therefore, this Maya or Prakriti is my Shakti. I control that Shakti, and in me, this Maya Shakti creates or projects the world, which is called as a creation, which is nothing but from unmanifest potential form. The names and forms are projected. And where are they projected? They are projected into me. Since it is a projection, it does not affect me in any way. And they exist in me. Okay. How? With all the changes going on. But ultimately, all the changes are going on where? In my apara prakriti, in Maya, and at the end of Kalpa, Kalpakshaye, at the end of this particular cycle, they go back into my own Prakriti, my Apara Prakriti or Maya in a potential form. Therefore, though the creation is happening me, the whole Jagat is existing in me, the entire Jagat resolves back into me, though I am the Jagat Karanam Brahma, it is happening through the agency of Maya or my Apara Prakriti. Therefore, in spite of all these actions that I am doing, nothing is being done by me, and none of these actions taint me. Therefore, I am Asangaha. And how does this Jagat come about? How does Prakriti project this Jagat and sustains this Jagat and also resolves it back into itself? Now he says in the next verse, प्रकृतिं स्वामवष्टभ्य विसृजामि पुनः पुनः भूतग्राममिमं कृत्स्नम् अवशं प्रकृतेर्वशात्. So now he says here, Prakritim Swam Avashtabhya. What is the meaning of Swam Prakritim? Swiyam Prakritim. Swiyam means my Prakriti, my Apara Prakriti, my Shakti. I wield that Shakti just like a Mayavi, like a magician, wields that power of Maya. That power by which he wields that magic, projects the magic is under his control. Similarly, he says that Prakritim Swam Avashtabhya. Avashtabhya means Vashikritya. Having full control over this Prakriti, Visrajami. I create as though create. Okay, the world is projected punaha punaha, again and again. That way, I am the nimitta. I am the nimitta karanam, the consciousness principle, the nimitta for which, this prakriti acts as an upadanam or as an instrument to project this entire universe. Because of me, because of my paraprakriti, because I am the very nimitta karanam, in me, the nimitta karanam, the upadana karanam or Maya Shakti literally brings the entire Jagat from unmanifest to manifest form, which is called as creation or Srishti, maintains it, sustains it with all its changes, and at the end of Kalpa brings it or takes it back into itself. And if you have to know about this Jagat Karanam Brahma, Nimitta Karanam, Upadhana Karanam, Vivarta Abhinna, Nimitta, Upadana Karanam, please go to Tattvabodha. There everything is mentioned. What it meant, what Krishna mentions here is, though I am the Jagat Karanam Brahma, I am the Nimitta Karanam, being the Nimitta Karanam, my Maya Shakti being the Upadana Karanam or the material cause of this Jagat. Because of this, I remain completely unchanged. It is my Prakriti, my Apara Prakriti, Maya, which undergoes all the changes. But I, the Nimitta Karanam, do not undergo any changes. Therefore, I am the Vivarta Nimitta Karanam, unchanging. Asangaha Nimitta Karanam Ahamasmi. So, what do I do? Bhutagramam imam kritsnam. This entire Jagat, kritsnam means entire. Bhutagrama means whatever is there, all the groups of jivas. Bhuta samudayam, the entire group of all the. Grama means a group. Grama does not mean, yeah, grama also means a village because it is a group of houses. Therefore, anything which is a gramam, indriya gramam we say, the group of indriyas. Okay, so gramam means a group. So, Bhuta Gramam Imam, this entire groups of all the living beings, the entire Jagat, Kritsnam, entire Avasham Prakriter Vashat. This entire Jagat gets helplessly projected, exists, and goes back into a potential form Prakritehe Vashat because of the Prakriti, and that Prakriti is who? My Prakriti. And I control my Maya, Mama Maya, Swam, Prakritim Swam, Vashikritya. You can say, I am the Nimittam. I am the reason for this Jagat coming back again and again into a manifest and unmanifest form. When did the first creation come? This is the question everybody asks. It is not a straight line. There is no question of first. It is continuously going on. It is a cyclical process. So there is no question of when the first Srishti came. The Srishti is Anadi. It is coming back again and again. Now, though I am the creator of this Jagat, I am the sustainer of this Jagat, I am the Bhuta Bhrit, I am the Bhuta Bhavanaha, and I control my Maya. I do the under the my Vasha, my Maya creates this entire universe. Then can you say that it is my job, even though it looks as though I am responsible for this creation of this entire Jagat? Though I am called as Jagat Karanam Brahma in all the Upanishad, these karmas do not actually affect me at all. That's what he's saying here in the next verse, in the ninth verse. Nacha mam tani karmani nibadnanti dhananjaya udasina vadasinam asaktam teshu karmasu. So Arjuna, though you can say that all these things are happening in me, though you can say that I am the Jagat Karanam, Jagat, Poshakam, And at the same time, the resolver of the universe into Maya, actually speaking, none of these karmas bind me. Nachamam tani karmani. This karma of creation, sustenance, and resolution, which is happening in my apara prakriti Maya, by my controlling my apara prakriti, these actions do not bind me. Tani karmani Nachamam nibadnanti he Dhananjaya he Arjuna, they do not bind me. Have you not seen very similar verses in the earlier chapters? What did we see in fourth chapter? If you remember, 14th verse. Namam karmani limpanti, name karma phale spruha. Okay, karma phala spruha. Did he not say that in the 14th verse of the fourth chapter? Then in the third chapter, what did he say? Prakrite kriyamanani sarvani karmani. Prakrite he kriyamanani sarvani karmani. I think 26th or 27th verse in the third chapter. Then there only he again said, Name parthasti kartavyam trilokeshu. Okay, hey Partha, I don't have any karma in the three lokas. But at the same time, what he says is, Maya, Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam. I was the one who brought about this Chaturvarnyam. Now, what is the meaning of it? It looks as if Bhagwan is contradicting at every moment. He says, because of me, the Jagat has come into existence. Because of me, the Jagat is existing and it's coming back to me. I am the Jagat Karanam Brahma. I have created the, Chaturvarna, the Varna and Ashrama system. At the same time, he says that these karmas don't bind me. Namam karmani limpanti, he says. At the same time, says all these are done by the Prakriti. Prakritehe kriyamanani sarva karmani, sarvani karmani. And then he also says that I really don't have a kartavya to be done in anywhere in any of these 14 lokas. I have no kartavya. What is the meaning of this? What this means is that I do not have any raga or dvesha towards either the creation of the jagat, existence of the jagat, or the resolution of the jagat. Therefore, I don't have any kartrutvam. All the karma happens in me via the prakriti, through the prakriti or maya, but I do not have any kartrutvam or bhoktrutvam, and therefore these karmas, though you say are my karmas, they do not touch me at all. Why? Udasinavad asinam. The next line. Because I'm udasina. What is the meaning of udasina? Udasina does not mean indifferent. We have to understand that. When there is neither raga nor dvesha, you just observe a thing as it is. You don't have any kind of feelings of acquiring it or giving it up. When there is neither raga nor there is dvesha, my attitude towards anything is udasina. Udasina means that it's not that I'm indifferent, I don't care. No, I am still perceiving that thing. I appreciate that thing, but I'm udasina. I'm unaffected by it. I have no raga dvesha towards it. Therefore, I have no kartrutvam. Akarta abhokta. When I don't have raga, when I don't have dvesha, when I look at the jagat, as that, with, as if you're standing near your gate and just observing the traffic going, do you have any raga or dvesha towards it? You just sit there and watch this happening without any kind of an involvement in what is happening. Similarly, he says, Udasinavad asinam asaktam. You see in the third line, Udasinavad asinam. As though I'm indifferent. As if it doesn't matter to me what is happening in the Jagat. Asaktam. I am not entangled in those actions. Why? Teshu karmasu asaktam Mam tani karmani na nibadnanti. Same verse as namam karmani limpanti. Name karma phale spraha. So what is the meaning of this? That I don't have any kartrutvam or bhoktrutvam. Whatever is happening in the anatma apara prakriti, which is my Shakti. Therefore, nothing affects me. Though I am the Jagat Karanam Brahma, I am neither the Karta nor the Bhokta. It is my Apara Prakriti which is actually the Karta and the Bhokta under my supervision. And what Acharya Shankara says here is that, he says, Ataha Anyasya api, even when anybody else, not only me Arjuna, not only me Krishna, even if you have the attitude of udasinavad asinaha and asaktaha, all your work that you are doing, all the karma that you are doing will not bind you. That is why Krishna suggested what? Karma yoga. In a karma yoga, what a karma yogi is doing in karma yoga, he is not attached to the action as my action. He is not entangled in the karma phala as my karma phala. He offers the action as offering to Ishvara, arpana buddhya, and he accepts whatever comes as prasada from Ishvara, prasada buddhya. Therefore, such an attitude of being asaktam, udasinavad asinam and asaktam, when there is no involvement in the involvement is not in that doesn't mean that Ishvara is doing something without getting no, it's not like that. What it means is that even if a human being, you do all your actions like as you are doing, but without any kind of a doership, without any kind of an entanglement, or without any kind of a kartritva attitude or bhoktritva attitude, then it is not going to bind you, Arjuna. That's why I'm telling you to offer all your actions to me. Therefore, you will not be bound by this karma. Then, when can I do this? Is it possible for me to do this as I'm doing all my other work? Or should I be simply sitting udasinavad asinam? So, Acharya Shankara says that, in every action that you do, this should be the attitude of the person. That is unentangled in what is being done and not really involved or not really worried about the karma phala. And to such a person who is a karta abhokta, even to you Arjuna, even to any human being just like me, none of the actions will afflict you. I am all the time active, Krishna says, all the time I'm doing something or the other, but none of them affect me. Why? Because I don't have that entanglement and that association as a karta and a bhokta. Therefore, anybody else who has the same attitude like me will not get bound by his actions. And that is what he is asking Arjuna to do. Fight this war without having that, kind of a kartritva bhoktritva attitude, as doing the karma that has to be done as arpana buddhi, with arpana buddhi, and accepting the results as prasada buddhi. Then, if that is so, then what is my role in this creation of the universe, sustenance of the universe, and the universe going back? What is my role in it? So he says here in the 10th verse, Mayadhyakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagad viparivartate. So Maya adhyakshena. See, what is an adhyaksha? An adhyaksha is a mere presiding principle. See, we also have an adhyaksha, a presiding officer. What does a presiding officer do? Or what does a presiding person in any function do? He simply is there. He is overseeing, just looking at whatever is happening. The presiding principle does not take part in anything. He is just presiding over the function, just seeing what is happening there. Do you remember this? Navadvare pure dehi. Okay. Na kinchit kurvan na karayan. You remember that again, in the 4th chapter. This Atma is like a Navadvare pure dehi. And this entire body is doing all its action, Anatma. But who am I? The Atma who is seated in this 9-gated city, and in its mere presence, by its mere presence, by its very vikshanam, by its very adhyakshatvam, this entire Anatma body is functioning. Similarly here, what does Krishna say? Maya adhyakshena prakritihi suyate idam characharam jagat. Okay, Maya adhyakshena. I simply preside over. I am the very presiding factor. I am the very presiding principle. And under my, just under my, kind of a supervision, I can say, under my supervision, prakritihi suyate. This apara prakriti or Maya prakriti suyate. It means it gives birth to, or it projects what? Characharam jagat. That is the moving and non-moving jagat, the entire jagat under my presidentship or under my as a presiding principle, under my supervision, my prakriti, my shakti, my maya. And again, Krishna doesn't have that abhimana that it is my prakriti. It is that this prakriti cannot be separated from Brahman. Therefore, Krishna says it is my prakriti. Like our Ardhanarishvara concept, where Prakriti and Purusha or Maya and Brahman cannot be really separated. Brahman by itself cannot give rise to this Jagat. Maya by itself cannot give rise to this Jagat. Why? Brahman is mere consciousness principle. It cannot bring about this material universe. Maya is the primordial matter principle, but it is Jada, it is Achetana. By itself, Maya cannot project a whole world. Maya borrowing existence and consciousness, Chetanam, Chetanatvam, Chaitanyam, and Satta, it borrows from me, Brahman, Paraprakriti, and Suyate Sacharacharam Jagat. This entire Charachara Jagat is literally brought into existence by Maya under my supervision. Like a king, a king is just sitting there. He doesn't have to do anything. In the mere presence of a king, under mere the drishti of the king, all the people under him are doing all the actions that are necessary. He just has to be in his seat. Similarly, here also, I am like an adhyaksha presiding over my Maya, and all the work is done by this Maya Suyate Sacharam Jagat. Hetuna Anena Kaunteya Jagat Viparivartate. I am the very Nimitta Karanam, the Hetu, because of which my Prakriti, my Maya is able to project this entire Jagat, sustain this entire Jagat, and resolve it back into itself. Therefore, I am the very Adhishtanam in which the whole thing is coming in cycles again and again, but does not affect me at all. I am a mere Drik Swarupa Atma. All the Drishimatra Swarupena Avikriya Atmanamaya, Acharya Shankara says in well. Drishimatra Rupena, by my mere being an observer. Like an observer doesn't do anything. And who am I? Avikriyatmana. Avikriya Atma. I do not undergo any changes. But in my, presidentship, or in my Vikshanam, or in my supervision, or in my presence, what happens? All the vikaras of the Jagat are brought into existence. In whom and by whom? By Maya. But I am the Adhishtanam. I am that very foundation on which, in which all these changes are taking place. Therefore, in this way, you can say I am the Jagat Karanam. At the same time, though I am the Jagat Karanam, I am the very Nimitta Karanam and the presiding principle, because of which the inferior nature of me, or apara prakriti, nikrishta apara prakriti, Acharya calls this prakriti, gives rise suyate characharam jagat. Then with this 10th verse, all the swarupam of Nirguna Brahman, it's not everything, but Krishna wants to mention these few important ones. They are being mentioned, and there is so much scope for Lord Krishna in the further chapters to bring out more number of Brahma Swarupam into telling us as to what are the other Brahma Swarupa Lakshanas. What are they? Swarupa Lakshanas. Swarupa Lakshanani of Brahman is going to be done. But in this chapter, these are the 5 or 6 Brahma Lakshanani that have been talked about by Lord Krishna. Now, from the 11th verse onwards, for the next few verses, Lord Krishna talks about 2 types of people. One type or one group of people is those, who do not want to know or who do not understand Bhagavan's para prakriti. They are only caught up in apara prakriti. So what happens to such people? Who are these people? And when they are totally engrossed in the changing universe, in my apara prakriti or maya, and they are not interested in coming to the para prakriti or even knowing my real swarupam as para prakriti or as Brahman, who are these kind of people? What happens to them? That is what is being talked about in the next 2 verses. So in the 11th verse, what does Krishna say? Avajananti mam mudhaha manushim tanumashritam param bhavamajanantaha mama bhuta maheshwaram. So hey Arjuna, mama bhavam, my real bhava, my real swarupam, as what? Bhuta Maheshwaram, as the very cause, as that very karanam of this entire jagat to be projected by Maya. That very nimitta karanam, that very consciousness, that which I am Bhuta Maheshwaram, Mama Bhavam, as the very Adi, as the very consciousness in the entire Jagat, those who don't understand me. Mama bhavam, param bhavam. Param means what? Mama para prakritim bhavam ajanantaha. Ajanantaha means what? Those who do not know my param bhava as Nirguna Brahma Aham. What kind of a Nirguna Brahman? Paraprakriti, which Krishna has described in all these verses. Isn't it Avyaktam, Sarvagatam, okay? Asangam, Jagat Karanam. Fine. All this Adhishtanam, Jagat Adhishtanam, all these, those who do not understand me in this way, he says, Mudhaha, they are deluded people, and Avajananti Mam, they disrespect or disregard my Paraprakriti. Avajananti means what? They disrespect, they disregard, they don't care, they don't bother, they just discard my Prakriti. Which Prakriti? Para Prakriti, or my Brahma Swarupam, or my Para nature. My nature, that of Param Brahma, is literally disregarded by these people. Why? These are all deluded by what? Manushim Tanum Ashritam. Because they only cling on to my apara prakriti and me with a name and form. They are only interested in holding on to the names and forms in which I manifest as various devatas, and their purpose is only to fulfill a few of their desires, either as Artha Bhaktas or Artharthi Bhaktas. Very few want to know me as Jignasu Bhaktas, and very few of them are successful in really understanding my Param Bhavam. Remember, in the 7th chapter, we saw 4 types of bhaktas: Artha Bhakta, Artharthi Bhakta, Jignasu Bhakta, and Jnani Bhakta. Now, Artha Bhaktas and Artharthi Bhaktas are those who are using me to attain their limited ends. Okay, and they are dependent only on what? My apara prakriti, only in the name and form in which I manifest as various deities, and they're happy with that. They're not interested in knowing me in my real nature. My real nature, my ultimate nature as Param Brahma, they're not interested in knowing me. They are as though disrespecting, disregarding the reality of my Swarupam. So these are the Mudhas. Manushim Tanum Ashritam. They only go by my name and form and appearance in as various devatas, and they are mudhaha, they are deluded, and they are going to go only after limited ends, because they are only wanting to fulfill their limited desires, and they are not interested in that unlimited goal called as moksha, the param gati, paragatihi, parakashta, paragatihi, moksha they are not interested in. Therefore, either because they do not know me or they do not want to know me, it is as though they are disregarding, disrespecting. They are not even bothered to know the real nature of me as Param Brahma. Why is it so? What happens to such people? What is their attitude? Those people who are avajananti mam mudhaha, these mudhaha, what is actually their attitude in life? So he's telling in the next verse, in the 12th verse. What does he say? मोघाशा मोघकर्माणः मोघज्ञानाविचेतसः राक्षसीमासुरीं चैव प्रकृतिं मोहिनीं श्रिताः. So these people are who? Vichetasaha. The last word in the first line. Vichetasaha. Vivekarahitaha. Avivekinaha. Those don't have the discrimination to really see me and understand me in my true nature. These are Vichetasaha. Avivekinaha. And what do they have? Moghasha. Their desires are all very, very, what you call, their goals and their desires are extremely lower kind of desires, in the sense artha and kama, that's all. So they are vyartha, their moghasha. Mogha means what? Useless. Vyatha, vritha. Vritha, vyartha means mogha, moghasha. So those are only holding on to my saguna nature, and who do not want to use my saguna nature ultimately to go to the capacity of knowing my nirguna swarupam. Such people have, they are moghasha. Means what? They have desires which are really vritha, they are wasted desires, because all these desires are meant to only gain limited ends. Those desires are not meant to get me, the Param Brahma. So they are all their desires, artha, artharthi bhaktas, their desires are moghasha, the desires which are wasted desires. And the human birth has been there, Shastra exposure is there, Guru Prapti is there. But the desires are what? That I should have a good living here, I should go to higher lokas when I die. That's all. Maximum what? Go to Brahmaloka with Upasana, not interested in knowing the Param Brahma, the Param Brahma as the Nirguna Brahma Swarupam, not interested in knowing, not interested in understanding I am that Brahma Swarupa. And then what happens? I keep coming back again and again. Limited goals I achieve for some time, which last for a very short time, and then I come back again and again. Therefore, for such people, avajananti mam, those who disregard and disrespect my paraprakriti, or my swarupam, my paraswarupam as parabrahma swarupam, they are moghasha. They waste their time in useless pursuits. Mogha karmanaha. When you have a desire which is useless, vyartha, vritha, desire, useless, your karma that you do to achieve that also is limited, isn't it? It's a very limited karma. Naturally, isn't it? When I have limited desires, whatever karma I am doing, it will only get me that desire, limited karmas. I am not interested in knowing the unlimited Brahman, not know interested in knowing that that unlimited Brahman is I, this Atma, not interested in that ultimate goal called moksha, but my interests and my desires are mogha, useless pursuit, small pursuit. Therefore my karmas are also what? Do this, do that, please that devata, please this devata, go to this temple and this, do this puja, go here and do this for this particular purpose. That is all. So mogha karmanaha, mogha jnanaha. I don't even have, I don't even know what I am doing this for. I'm not even jnana. I don't even have the capacity to understand that all these things, these limited desires of Arthakama are not going to get me anywhere. I'm only going to come back again and again into this cycle of the Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. I should know, I should have the jignasa of knowing this Brahma Swarupam, and my ultimate goal should be that of moksha. But these people, avajananti, those who disregard, disrespect my, nature as Param Brahma Swarupam Mam Avajananti, then they're only caught with my, they're only involved in my Apara Prakriti, only Tanum Ashritam, okay, Manushim Tanum. The name and form, like a human form which they give me, they're only embroiled in that form, and their desires are useless, their pursuits are useless, their knowledge is useless. See, ultimately, what do you have? There are three Shaktis, isn't it? There is Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Kriya Shakti, right? To get anything, there should be an Ichha Shakti. Then you should have the knowledge of what it is and how to go about it, Jnana Shakti. Then you should have the Kriya Shakti to do that karma to attain that Ichha. Correct? So here, in such people, all the three, the Ichha Shakti, the Jnana Shakti, and Kriya Shakti, all the three are literally wasted. Wasted in what? Wasted in finite goals. Finite in goals which will make me come back again and again. The Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti should be that of a Jignasu. To become a Jnani, to know Parabrahma Swarupam, to understand the abhedam between me and that Parabrahma Swarupa, and get out of the cycle of birth and death. But these Mogha Karmanaha, Moghasha, Mogha Jnana are Avivekinaha. They are not interested in knowing my real Swarupam. And what do they do because of this? Rakshasim Asurim Prakritim Mohinim Shritaha. So all the time they are only involved in Rakshasi Prakriti, Rajoguna Prakriti. I want to do something, I want to get this, I will do anything, climb on anybody's shoulders and get what I want, whatever it may be. Rakshasi Pravritti means Rajasi Pravritti. And Asuri Prakriti, I am willing to hurt others, kill others, okay, get rid of him. So many words are there. Correct? When somebody is coming in the way of my fulfilling my desire, there are two ways in which I can achieve that if I am this Moghasha Mogha Karmana. Okay, I can very cleverly climb on everybody's shoulders and push them aside and get whatever I want. Rakshasi Pravritti or Rakshasi Prakritim Stitaha. Then there is one called as Asuri Prakriti. Then what is that? Anybody who comes in my way, there are so many words for that, isn't it? Get rid of him, kill him, okay, bounce him off, okay, let him get out of my way. This is Asuri. That means what? I'm willing to harm somebody, which is a tamasi pravritti. So Rakshasi pravritti is a rajasic pravritti. Asuri pravritti is a tamasic pravritti, where you are willing to hurt others to achieve your own ends. And what are these ends? These ends are nothing but very, very limited ends, which don't get me anywhere, which only bring me back into samsara again and again. And these Rakshasi and Asuri, Prakritis, what are they? Mohini, they literally delude. They delude the intellect of such a person. And this person takes the help of my Apara Prakriti and gets held on to Rakshasi and Asuri Prakriti, which is Rajasic and Tamasic Prakriti. Nobody wants to come to my Sattvic Sattva Prakriti and know me as that Param Brahma. And these two, the 11th and the 12th verse, talk about those who are only interested in the Apara Prakriti and lost in the Apara Prakriti, but they don't achieve anything. Whereas in contrast, he talks about the second group of people. The first group of these people is who? Avajananti Mamudaha. And then all their desires, their karmas, their knowledge, everything is mogha, useless. not really, serving any purpose. Ultimately it gives them temporary, some kind of a fulfillment, temporary fulfillment, but then go back again, come back again, same thing is being repeated. Whereas in the 13th verse he talks about the other group of people, those who are sattvika prakriti, daivi prakriti mashritaha, not the rakshasi or asuri prakriti, but those who hold on to the Daivi Prakriti, those who are Sattva oriented, Sattva Guna Pradhana people, those who have done enough of Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga, those who want to go to Jnana Yoga to understand and know what the real nature of Ishvara Krishna is. Therefore, they are all mumukshus. They are mumukshavaha. And they are the people who are wanting to know the ultimate nature, swarupam of Lord, or this behind this jagat, behind this name and form. What is it that sustains this jagat? What is behind this name and form? What is that principle which is behind this, name and form of my Ishta Devata? I want to know that. That is what is called as the, Daivi Prakriti, Sattva oriented, where the person wants to understand the Parabrahma Swarupam, my Para Prakriti. So in the 13th verse, he says here, Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritimashritaha bhajantyananya manasaha nyatva bhutadimavyayam. These are the people who hold on to, they are sattva pradhana individuals. Their desires, their karma, their knowledge is sattvic. They want to understand me, they are jignasavaha. They are mumukshus who want to ultimately know my ultimate nature, my swarupam they want to know. Therefore they are called as Mahatma. Mahatmanastu mam partha. They are the other, not the asuri rakshasi ones. Now here they are not the moghashas. Here he's talking about them who's diametrically opposite, the other one who's interested in moksha, who is a jignasu, who's a mumukshu, who's following the entire ladder of karma yoga, upasana yoga, to know Brahma Swarupam and get out of the cycle of births and deaths. He is called a Mahatma or a Mumukshu. He Partha, Daivi Prakriti Mashritaha. They hold on to my Daivi Prakriti. Okay, they want to know me. They are sattvic, Daivi Prakritim Ashritaha, Bhajanti Ananya Manasaha. All the time they are having me in their background. All the time they are thinking of me. All the time they are doing nididhyasanam of me. Now, does it mean that we have to sit whole day and think of, Ishvara? No. Ananya Manasaha means whatever I am doing, all the time in the background, Ishvara Dhyanam is there. The nididhyasanam is going. Like a musician constantly in touch with the Shruti, like a mother who's doing everything, but all the time in the back of the mind, the mother is having the child, a young child if she has. She may be working in the office, may be doing anything, but all the time, Ananya Manasaha, the child, what it is doing, where it is, in spite of doing everything, all the time in the background, the child's welfare is there. Similarly, Arjuna, you may be doing anything in this jagat. You may be doing whatever is given to you as a profession. But then, bhajanti ananya manasaha. These people are constantly bhajanti, sevante. All the time they are thinking of me. All the time they are doing nididhyasanam about me, as it is taught by the Guru from the Shastra. Jnatva, knowing me as what? Bhutadim avyayam. I am the very avyaya, imperishable Atma in all the bhutas, in the entire Jagat, as the very consciousness which is the adhishtanam of this entire Jagat. In this way, they are constantly thinking about me. In this way, they have been taught by the Guru and the Shastra, and constantly ananya manasaha, without thinking of anything else. in and through whatever duties they are doing, in and through all the swadharma, swakarma they are following. They are constantly in the background of their minds. They are ananya manasaha bhajanti. They are connected to me. They are committed to me without, having any kind of a distraction. In and through all their actions, Hey Partha, these people are called as those who are having Daivi Prakriti or Sattvika Prakriti, Sattviki Prakriti or Daivi Prakriti. And ultimately, what do they want to know? They want to know me in my real nature. As Brahmaswarupam me, they want to know. And how do they do this? Bhajanti Ananya Manasa means what do they do? What are they doing? How is it that Bhajanti Ananya Manasa? That is what is going to be told in the next few verses. Since ninth chapter is the very crux and the core of the teaching of Vedanta, I am going a little slow here. So, I am taking only 6 or 7 verses in every class, only because, I want this to be properly kind of understood by all of us. So, how do these people, that is Daivi Prakriti Mashritaha, how do they Ananya Manasaha Bhajanti? How? That is what is going to be told from the 14th verse onwards for the next 2-3 verses, which we'll see in the next session. नन्दन्तु साधका सर्वे विनश्यन्तु विदूषकाः अवस्था शाम्भवी मेस्तु प्रसन्नोऽस्तु गुरुः सदा सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।